It would be in the 50s. I would be not married then. Cynthia was married. I can remember that she wore a turquoise matching hat and coat and looked like the work of art herself, although it was initially our husbands, who were both rugby league players, who were the initial mates. We quickly became friends, and so it continued throughout our life. We talked about her aims. She wished to preserve the bits of Wakefield that were being knocked down. She was frightened for the yards, like Avison's yards, which used to be full of tenements, not just open yards as they are today. And she said she would try to paint as many of the yards and other Wakefield landmarks before they disappeared.
I met Cynthia in '86 when I started at Wakefield Art Gallery, and at that point she was chair of the Permanent Art Fund stroke the Friends of Wakefield Art Gallery. And the first thing that really struck me about Cynthia was how passionate she was about the collections and the arts in Wakefield generally. And I think with her background, being born in Wakefield and educated in Wakefield, because I understand that she actually worked for the West Yorkshire County Council Architectural Service. But of course then she also went to Wakefield Art College, where she had some formal training to add to her already skills in graphic design. She obviously generated quite early an interest in the topography and a love of the city and the streets and the yards, which became sort of really a forte.
Cynthia is a founder member of Wakefield Art Club back in 1953. My dad was one of them. He joined in the early 1960s, and he was treasurer, my dad, and he and Cynthia were good friends. Cynthia used to come regularly every year and do a workshop, usually a still life. I think I was a little bit in awe of her, actually, because she was quite dominant, really. 42 works of art went to the Hepworth, and some of Cynthia's paintings were included, like the Batley roofs and the Wakefield landscape. We can remember those places because she painted them.
I've known Cynthia since I was a child. My parents lived a few doors away from her, and when we moved there she was already there, and my mother and her became friends. But she could look at things and have a different view on them, and always appreciating scenery and architecture. Old buildings was a favourite, and just going and looking at cathedrals and things like that. And she always used to go with her husband George up into Northumberland and look round there, because that was where George, her husband, was from. But she'd talk about it in a way that was interesting to you and make you appreciate it.
And she'd a wicked sense of humour.
Oh yes.
Wicked sense of humour. She used to have me in hysterics. Really funny woman. She could be really funny. And she'd a glint in her eye.
And I think because she worked in the West Yorkshire County Architectural Service and probably worked quite hand in hand with the planning department as well, she would have been aware of planning requests, changes to locations. And she said she wasn't just recording these because she thought they were going to be lost or demolished. She painted them because she felt emotionally attached to them, and she didn't see them as drab places. And I say I've never met somebody who's quite so proud and so enamoured about the city where she came from, and that sort of came across in her work. And I think that, yeah, the duality of observation and imbuing that with emotion, I think sort of sums up Cynthia's approach to her work, really.
The other connection with education was the Cynthia Kenny handwriting competition, where she awarded prizes at different age levels for good handwriting. Her own handwriting was exemplary.
I've seen her writing envelopes, and she'd have a ruler out to get everything perfect, and it'd take her ages. So when you got a card or something, you knew it was from Cynthia.
Often we went to Cynthia's for New Year, and she was a great cook and baker. Any reason, you know, for a party. She was steadfast in her friendships and relationships. For her funeral, the exit music was her great love, the Rolling Stones' "Hey You, Get Off of My Cloud," which would clear room for her in heaven, where she certainly must be. Yes.